One of the greatest poets of English literature, P.B. Shelley, Percy Bysshe Shelley, he belonged to the second generation of Romantic poets after William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. His contemporaries were John Keats and Lord Byron. As a student, Shelley was an iconoclast. He was revolutionary in spirit. While he was studying in the Oxford University, he published a paper named The Necessity of Atheism. And he was expelled from the university just because of that. And later he moved on. He moved to Italy. It was in Italy that his greatest works were published. And he met a tragic death. He died by drowning, a boat accident. We also have such a poet here, a great poet, who also died the same way, Kumaranashan. നമ്മുടെ മഹാനായ കുമാരനാശാൻ. As I told you, Shelley was an idealist. He couldn't just tolerate those injustices in the world. So he was very sensitive to whatever was happening around him, the sufferings of his fellow men. That really touched him, affected him. And that particular period, that means the early 19th century, that is a period of rapid industrialization. So many industries, textiles, they were all mushrooming in different parts of London. Those villagers, they were coming in large number to these towns in order to work in these factories, textiles and other industries. So their living conditions were very poor. They were given meager pay. So Shelley was very sad about their plight. And those lords, those industrialists, they were actually exploiting the poor. So this particular poem that we are going to study today, it was a response to the injustice in the society. The name of the poem, the title of the poem is Song to the Men of England. It is an appeal to the workers of England, the men of England, the poem. Men of England, wherefore plough for the lords who lay thee low? Wherefore weave with toil and care the rich robes your tyrants wear? Workers of England, he asks his fellow men. Wherefore means why, or for what reason? He asked them, for what reason do you plough the earth, till the earth for those lords, who always keep you low, who will never let you grow? You are working hard for those lords. They are exploiting you. And the next thing he asks, why should you weave their clothes? You are making their clothes. And can you wear them? No. They wear the clothes that you weave. So you do all the hard work, but they are reaping the benefit of your work. So why do you do that? Wherefore feed and clothe and save from the cradle to the grave those ungrateful drones who drain your sweat, nay, drink your blood? For what reason do you feed and clothe and save for them those ungrateful drones from cradle to the grave? Cradle is the place where you are born into, and then you reach your grave. Until then you work for them. For those ungrateful drones, drones are bees. Ungrateful, you work hard for them, but they don't have any gratitude. Ungrateful drones. Ungrateful drones are the lords of England who exploit you. And what do? They drain your sweat. Nay, the poet corrects himself. They drink your blood. So the poet is comparing those lords to vampires perhaps. വാമ്പേഴ്സ് അല്ലേ ഇങ്ങനെ ബ്ലഡ് സക്ക് ചെയ്ത് കുടിക്കുന്നത്? അതുപോലെ നിങ്ങളുടെ രക്തമൂറ്റി കുടിക്കുന്ന ദുഷ്പ്രഭുക്കൾ അവരാണ്. For them you work day and night. Why? For what reason? That's a question. Wherefore, bees of England, forge many a weapon, chain and scourge, that these stingless drones may spoil the force produce of your toil. So, for what reason bees of England? In the last stanza, we have seen the poet calling the lords the ungrateful drones. So, the lords were the ungrateful drones in the last stanza, ungrateful bees in the last stanza. But now, when we come to this stanza, we see that it's actually the workers of England. They are the bees. They are the worker bees. You know how exactly a honeycomb works. So, what is the power equation, the power politics within a honeycomb? All those worker bees, they fly in different directions, they gather honey and get it back to the nest. That means the honeycomb. And this queen bee doing nothing sits right there and gets all the honey. How unfair, അല്ലേ? ഇതായിരിക്കും ഒരു പക്ഷേ കവിയുടെ മനസ്സിൽ. അതായത് these workers of England, they are just like the worker bees. They do all the menial work, and these lords sitting idle at the center doing nothing, they are the queen bees. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനൊരു പവർ ഇക്വേഷൻ ആയിരിക്കും ഈ ഒരു കമ്പാരിസൺ കൊണ്ട് കവി ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. Have you leisure, comfort, calm, shelter, food, love's gentle balm? Oh, what is it you buy so dear with your pain and with your fear? So the poet asked the poor workers, do you have any leisure in your life? Any peace, a home, love, something? So what do you get in exchange for your pain and fear? He asked the laborers, they asked the men of England. So the next two stanzas you have to read it together. They come as a combo. The seed you sow, another reaps. The wealth you find, another keeps. The ropes you weave, another wears. The arms you forge, another bears. So you do the work and they reap the benefit of your hard work. So what should you do? Sow seed, but let no tyrant reap. Find wealth, let no impostor heap. Weave ropes, let not the idle wear. Forge arms in your defense to bear. Enjoy the benefits of your labor. Don't let the other reap what you have sown. പക്ഷേ our poet is not so positive. He doesn't believe that his fellow men, they are going to listen to what he is saying. നമ്മൾ പറയില്ലേ, എത്ര പറഞ്ഞിട്ടും കാര്യമില്ല, നന്നാവില്ല എന്ന് പറയില്ലേ? ആ ഒരു നിരാശയാണ് ഒരു പക്ഷേ ഇനി വരുന്ന വരികളിൽ. He is so desperate, our poet is. His words are useless, he might have found. Shrink to your cellars, holes and cells. In halls you deck, another dwells. Why shake the chains you wrote? You see, the steel you tempered glance on ye. So towards the end of the poem, our poet Shelley is quite desperate. He knows that nothing would happen. These people, they do not rise in protest against the injustice. No. They would suffer all these things in silence. അവർ ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നില്ല. ഇതൊക്കെ സഹിച്ച് ഈ അപമാനമൊക്കെ കടിച്ചിറക്കി ഏതൊരവസ്ഥയിലും അവർ ജീവിക്കാൻ തയ്യാറാണ്. സോ ആ ഒരു ഷെല്ലിയുടെ ഒരു മോറൽ ഇൻഡിഗ്നേഷനാണ് ഈ കാണുന്നത് തോന്നിയത്, ദേഷ്യമാണ്. And he asked these poor workers, why do you shake your chains? You yourself have made those chains. അല്ലേ, നിങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ ചങ്ങലകൾ, why should you shake them? And look at that, those chains are looking back at you, they are glancing on you. With plough and spade and hoe and loom, trace your grave and build your tomb, and weave your winding sheet till fair England be your sepulchre. So these are tools used in agriculture and also in the textile industry. So a poet Shelley, he tells the men of England that they would, with these tools, they would just march on to their grave without any word of protest, nothing. They would do nothing against this injustice. And they continue to make their own grave. and the winding sheet is actually a cloth used to wrap up dead bodies, and they would just weave that in order to wrap themselves up as dead bodies. They are already as good as dead. And then you march on to your grave. And this fair England, at the end what happens? This fair England, that is very ironic, an ironic usage, because England is not fair, it is not just, that we know. They let the country lets the lords exploit these poor men of England, workers of England, until fair England be your sepulchre. Sepulchre is the where the dead live, dead sleep. So the England will be your sepulchre. നിങ്ങളുടെ കുഴിമാടമായിട്ട് രാജ്യം തന്നെ മാറും. ഈ ഫെയർ ഇംഗ്ലണ്ട്, ആ ഒരു സർക്കാസം, പരിഹാസം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കിട്ടാതെ പോകരുത്. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ അവസാനം the poem ends with some kind of moral indignation and also anger. അരിശത്തോടുകൂടി ആ ദേഷ്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ it is very tangible towards the end of the poem. So that is a song to the men of England by P.B. Shelley.